Good evening, everyone. So, we're here for episode 7 of Grease, the Pink Ladies, which I'm loving. And look who our guest is. We have Potato, Alexis Sides. Hello.
Hello, Roxanne, Kathy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here and can't wait to talk about episode 7. I see that a lot of people have a lot of questions.
Yes, we have lots of questions, but we want to get to know you
Go for
because
it.
here's what happens. They fall in love with the character, then they check out the actor and they want to find everything that you've either been in or you're going to be in. So
Okay.
we're going to dive in first. I have to say, I was all excited that I saw that you like to cook. Is that true?
I love it. I love it. Since I moved to Vancouver, I have to learn how to cook, right? I'm not
Yes.
going to be buying food outside every day. So,
Yes.
uh, yeah, Mexican food, I miss it. So I just learned how to make all the typical dishes. And not only that, I like to bake also. So I'm a very big fan since I started watching the Great British Bake Off back
Oh
in
my gosh.
I don't know how many years ago. That's why I fell in love with it, and that's when I was like, hey, I want to recreate that, And
Okay. So you're born and raised in Mexico,
yeah,
correct?
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in Guadalajara, and then I grew up in Cabo San Lucas for like 9 years of my life,
Oh,
and that's where I started acting. Started acting in second grade, and I kept doing it every summer because it was like a school thing, right? In second grade, we used to rehearse the whole year and present it to our parents as a thank you. The school used to prepare that, and
oh,
and I used to look forward to it every year, right? And it wasn't until sixth grade or seventh grade when I was like, okay, I really like to do this, and I want to do this for the rest of my life, and for one situation or another, I had to step out of it for a while. But I always knew that it was what I wanted to do, and when it was the moment to choose where did I want to go and what did I wanted to do, it was researching, and final decision was Vancouver to study acting, and here I am.
Alexis, what came first, the acting or the singing and dancing? Did you start out wanting to be in musicals, or did that come afterward?
That's funny because I never took singing or dancing classes per se.
oh,
I
wow.
started in musical theaters, and unfortunately, it's in Cabo San Lucas, right? So it's a beautiful place, but I mean, right now it's a small town, right? And it's still in development. A beautiful place, but it's still in development. And even imagine back in 2008, 2007, it was way more underdeveloped. So there weren't a lot of opportunities for people to develop those kind of skills, like singing or dancing skills. There
Mhm.
weren't a lot of places for that. So um, that's why I started musical theater in school. And because of that, they wouldn't have us singing on stage. It would be like the lip syncing of the music they would grab from the adaptation to Spanish of that certain play. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
we sing to that, and we would pretend like we would sing. And the choreographies, I would do that. I mean, everything that they teach me, I would definitely try to do that, and to my best. But that's how I started, singing and dancing per se, right? Because I never took singing or dancing classes. It wasn't until Greece, I saw the audition. I was like, wow, singing and dancing, great. I don't think I'm gonna get this. I mean, not because I'm not
Oh,
good at it, but I just knew the competition I just know the
right.
talent that is in Vancouver, and I knew the competition I was going against with it. But that never brought me down. I was like, okay, let's do it. It's a T-bird. I mean, come on, let's just
Yeah.
let's do the audition, right? What do I have to lose? And yeah, I remember that I sang all these things that I've done from the Killers, uh, and I did my audition, and
Look, it happened.
yeah,
What was that moment like? Like, where were you? I saw that the girls were they were sharing video of how when they were
Very
told.
told,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
I
We
was
were all
curious.
very emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very emotional moment. Your question is how I found out.
Mhm.
I found out on Sunday, I think. My agent called me in the
Oh,
morning, and she told me the good news. I had to wait a little bit. It wasn't until January. I think the ladies found out on uh, Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken, that they got the
mhm.
part. I didn't find out until January that I got the part, and it was one of the happiest moments of my life for sure. It took me a few days to process it for sure.
Yeah.
I was in shock. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. Every time that I see posts or reels that they do about Potato and I see my face, I'm like, what is happening? Like, but yeah.
Oh. Now, what did you know about your character before you even actually, got on set? Like, how much did you already know about Potato?
I we were lucky enough to have a meeting
Mhm.
with the showrunner Annabelle Oakes and executive producer and director Alethea Jones, and we had a conversation about Potato just to see if we were all in the same page, and yeah, it turned out for the best.
So it was funny because I didn't know anything about your character, and then when I was doing a little research, I saw a blurb somewhere, and I was like, "Oh, they kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit." And then it was right. I mean, the very next, not even full day, the episode came out where we got to see a little bit into your background. So, what is it that you can share with us about your character, Potato? Like his family life, what's going on with his character?
Well, there isn't a lot of information about his mother, but his father, I do know that he went through PTSD.
Yeah.
He was the family. I mean, they're all coming from Mexico, and they moved to Southern California a few
Mhm.
years ago from the show,
Right.
and yeah, they've been. I mean, the whole immigration situation. It was hard. It was hard for them, and
Oh,
it took Potato a time to adapt to the whole situation, and fortunate enough, his very optimistic and fun attitude uh, caught the attention of people at school. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And between those people, it was the T-Birds and Potato and his dad share a passion for cars. That's where he got his passion from cars,
Okay.
and that's the knowledge that he earned from his dad. It's what part of it what got him a spot into the T-Birds, right? Because they're all about
The
cars
car.
and girls and everything, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think Potato found a space into the T-Birds, and that's how he ended up there.
It seems like Potato has a very deep empathetic side.
Yes.
And we saw that in the scene where he kind of reached out to Nancy and
Yeah.
just tried to give her, a little boost. Do you know, or can you say if they're going to explore more of that side of your character?
I think I can yeah freely say that. I mean, there's already pictures out and everything.
Hmm.
A little there's things happening there for sure,
Good.
and we
Good.
might get to see we might get to explore a little bit further into that, and we'll
Well,
see where it goes.
your character in general has a sweet side.
Yeah,
Like you're there and you put breakfast out for your dad
yeah.
and a little note, and then you've got the lunches made for your younger siblings and yourself. And what was it? He was eating jelly and beans, and he said, "Don't knock it unless you try it." Like they were like, "That's gross." And so you're kind of nurturing. But then at first I thought you didn't have a mom until there was a line or something that you said something about your mom. So I was like, I wonder, where is she off at work, maybe because her husband can't work, because he's not feeling well. So I was like, wow, we really learned a lot. And then how you treat Nancy. And you know what else? This, Kathy, I was thinking you would probably pick up on this. I love how they made the character very much like paying attention to detail. Like when you were in the movies, you knew what was going to happen next. And when you said it, they were shocked. And that's how you got to hang with Nancy to investigate who her secret admirer was, which was sweet because the characters are not just like one dimensional. Like they have all these little sides to them. Did
Yeah.
you know that all of that was going to be a part of that character, or did you learn as the script came?
I learned as the script came for sure.
Okay.
I think there were kind of a few changes for sure in the script
Okay.
while we were doing the production, and because of that, there were a lot of things that in the meeting with Annabelle and Alethea they weren't able to answer because we were you know, doing it
Yeah.
as we went. I mean,
Right. Right.
the episodes were written, just changes happen every time in the
Sure.
American production.
Sure.
So that was the thing. Yeah, there was a lot of new things that I found out in the middle as I got these scripts for sure.
Here's
Did
a
you?
question. Oops, sorry.
Nope. No. Go ahead, Kathy.
I was going to say, I don't think we've asked this question of any of our guests, but do you get any input into your character? I mean, as you see the scripts, do you ever say, I don't think Potato would do that or say that? Or can you make suggestions as to, dialogue or plot or any of that?
Particularly in this show, yes, Annabelle and Alethea were very, they were very, how do you say it?
Receptive?
They motivated us to do it. Like,
Oh.
they would actually encourage us. That's the word. They would encourage us to actually give them wild things, ideas, about our characters and things that they haven't even thought of. Maybe because it's a big cast. Like,
Yes.
you got a big ensemble and you got a big cast. So it's and all of them are characters, and all of them are characters that Annabelle really really put a thought into. So obviously there's going to be things that she may miss or she may think it's a good idea, or it's so she's always receptive to a good talk about it. And yeah, for sure. That's why I say in this particular show, I know that there's certain shows or movies where they wouldn't,
Right.
where the character is already set, but yeah, we were fortunate that in this show they were very open about it.
Now, getting back to your character, Nancy, Potato and Nancy, and maybe possible more information is coming our way. Did the two of you have to intimacy coordinator? Is that me dinging? Who's dinging?
I think that's you digging.
It's
Me?
my. I'm trying to. I don't know how to. Let me give him a second.
Is it you? It doesn't matter if it is. I didn't know who it is. Don't even worry about that. We've had dogs bark in the background and then jump in the lap of the actor or actress, so it's not a big deal. But back to what I was asking about Nancy. Do you have to work with an intimacy coordinator for any of your scenes? Yeah, I can. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of, even in the, like, you see it from the first scene, from the first episode.
Yes.
You're like, coordinator, come on, let's go. Intimacy coordinator. Yeah, and she was very sweet. She was very sweet. It was very easy to work with her, and with Nancy, I mean, with Trisha.
Yeah.
I'm also very communicative. I think that's a very, very important thing, being communicative about it and talk about the scene and what's going to happen and I don't know. We both gave each other a lot of confidence and the scenes that we have, I'm excited about them. In these last 3 episodes, I think these last 3 episodes are the ones that I was looking forward the most.
Okay. Good.
Oh, because there's a lot of things happening, not only with Potato, but with everyone,
Everyone, yes.
So that's why I'm really excited, and yeah, so it was really nice to work with both of them, intimacy and coordinator and Nancy.
That's good. It's sort of like you have to feel comfortable, really get to know each other, right? And then talk to each other. And I forget who it was that I saw. I don't know. Could have been from Queen Charlotte, that's out from Bridgerton, where the actors were saying that it's just like a stunt scene. It's like any other scene. You coordinate and you talk and pace yourself through all of it, which is nice for us to learn because, we're over here and we think it's something totally different,
Yeah, definitely. Every time we had a new idea about our movements when we were kissing, we would have to talk about it and talking with the intimacy coordinator for sure.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it's a very calculated movement for sure.
Now, do you have a favorite scene that's already aired that you can talk to us about? Because there's some fabulous, you've been in a lot of singing and dancing scenes, which cracks me up because you say that you never really had maybe later, but early on didn't have formal like, I guess, training with singing. Like me, I'd cry. I'd be like, I can't sing. How am I going to do this? And you're just in there singing and dancing away. Do you have
I
a
mean,
favorite?
it's not that I did it like I sing horribly, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
like
yeah.
I know how to sing. Like I don't sing horribly, and I think that helped a lot. And
Mhm.
I'm also taking singing lessons since we wrapped with season one. I started
Okay.
taking singing lessons and trying to develop that skills. It's hard. It's really hard, but we're getting there. Yeah, one of the scenes that uh, specifically dancing or
Whatever, whichever.
whatever,
'Cause we're all
the
amazing.
nipple scene.
Which one?
The nipple scene.
The nipple scene.
Did you need an intimacy coordinator for that?
Yes, especially that. That
When
was
I saw that scene, I was so uncomfortable. I was like, where's
Yeah.
this going? I couldn't take it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was scripted, so I knew it was coming, and I don't know. It was weird. It was weird because
we need to get the actor on who was the recipient of
we were
that.
both very comfortable about it. We talked about it, you know, and we would talk in the green room and the waiting room, and you know, we were both very, you know, relaxed about it. So honestly, it was a very easy scene to do.
Okay.
There wasn't any awkwardness between us two, you know, like we were
Right.
both having fun for sure. Like it's, you know, it's a scene. We're both actors, so let's just have fun with it, you know. And obviously everybody was laughing, and
Yeah.
because I mean, in the episode, it seems so fast. It seems like what 15 seconds of me just
It seems like it
kind
lasts
of making tickle, and then I'm like, whoa, you know,
It was so comfortable. I
almost
was
5
like,
minutes. I'm not kidding you. Alethea was like, I was tickling the nipple, and she just kept asking me to do different faces. Okay, now do a different face. Now do this face. Now do this kind. Raise your eyebrow. Move your, I don't know, different directions. And it was 5 minutes of just tickling his nipple, and it was hilarious. I know that everybody was laughing in the video village.
I thought it was hilarious the payoff to the scene when we found out he lost a bet because he agreed to let you guys do it. What did? Yes.
not that it would, make him laugh. Oh God, I loved it. It was
Yeah.
so good. So we need you to help us clarify something here
Okay.
about the ages of the T-Birds and the Pink Ladies. So what grade are y'all in?
Juniors. We're juniors. We're
Yeah.
between 15 and 16 years old. Yeah.
Okay. And Olivia, that means Olivia and Richie are twins.
Yeah. They are twins. I think Cheyenne. I saw a comment from. I didn't know either. I saw that Cheyenne mentioned it, and she said that they are twins. So I was like, oh, cool.
So and I had said
They favor each other. I mean,
yeah.
they could conceivably be twins.
Yeah, I remember when she says somewhere, and I had to go back and find it about, I was telling you earlier, I thought she said 11 months, and here it must be 11 minutes, like they're 11 minutes difference, because she says it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I've always been thinking in my head, and I've even mentioned it when we do these recaps, if they have a season 2, if it's their senior year, are we only going to stop at Christmas time and then it picks up again? Like, I'm trying to figure out the time frame, but now that makes sense. So it gives us a little more
time.
Yeah. Do you know where you might not be allowed to answer that. Okay. So
I know, and I don't know. I don't know anything about what's coming up. Like,
no, I don't mean season 2. I was wondering if does season 1 end at the end of the school year, or is it part way through, or you can't say?
No, I can't say that, but yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm kind of guesstimating it, so it's okay. We don't want to put anybody on the spot. Oh my gosh. There's so many funny things in that episode too. I can't wait for us to as once we say thank you for spending time with us, where we recap it. But there are people here that are saying all kinds of cool stuff I wanted to share with you. Let's see. We have Arlene. She says, episode 7 was so good. The casino scenes were wild, walking slot machines. Girls, how did Alexis shoot that without laughing the whole time? Jackpot drop.
In which part? In the part where the 3 pairs? She's talking.
whatever. The
Right?
whole any of it. She's
I mean, it was all trippy. Like I remember there was a part where Alicia brought me randomly, and they came up with this shot of me, just laying down under one of the slot machines, and she just lowers down a little bit, and coins start falling down on my face, and there's like a 3-second shot of it in high rolling if you really look into it. And I think that was it was hilarious. It was hilarious for sure.
How
How they
long
use
did
their little hands.
how long did it take to film that?
I think it was 2 days.
I felt like so much was going on that you would have been there forever and ever and ever.
No, it's because it's a long day, right? So we get
Yeah.
a lot of hours to do it, and I think we had between 2 and 3 days to film at the location. Yeah.
Wow.
Some of my favorite scenes were at the towing company. I thought those were great. And the guy who was the owner of the company and how he was reacting, and things kept happening and being said that I wasn't expecting. Like, I really believed he was, like, oh, okay, I understand. Here you go. And like, you're right. I just thought that was also, yeah. And I love Potato's reaction to some of the stuff that,
Yeah.
you think he's just kind of going to be passive and go along with the program. And then he, comes out with some aggression. It was pretty cool.
He needed his dollar back.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I love how we got it.
Yeah, his father carried that through in his pocket in the war, right?
Yep.
I knew you were getting that back. Avis says we really learned a lot about the guys, the T-Birds and Buddy. That's true. Buddy's father is a jerk. Listen, the actor who plays him is a doll, and we've had him on before for other things, and he couldn't let us know that he was such a jerk, but he needs to come back on because he's such a jerk.
Yeah, no, actually, they always ask me which song was my favorite of the whole season, and every time I say Pulling Strings. Every time, it's just a powerful song, and the music is so amazing, and like I think Justin really killed it writing that song for sure.
All right, Christina's just saying we love the T-Birds, and Rona said after this episode, Potato has definitely become my favorite T-Bird. Oh,
it's so nice, Rona.
Now, this is a good question. Chris wants to know, where did the name Potato come from?
Well, back in school when he recently moved to Southern California, he was very young. One day in school, the teacher asked him what was his name, and he said Pedrito. He said Pedrito, and the potato confused, and the professor confused it with potato, and he asked him, potato, what? And everybody started laughing, and that's how they started calling.
Nobody could pronounce his name properly.
Exactly.
Which is mean. That's just shows how ignorant and racist we were back then.
Back then, yeah.
Back then, right? Well, blatantly. Now, I'm talking about out in the open. It was, blatant. Oh my goodness. Alexis fits the part well of Potato. He does a great job. Love his character.
Well, honestly, it was so easy because Potato is very quirky and very funny, and and as a Latino, we have that heat inside, and we always want to, try to bring it up, and so I think I already had that kind of like boppiness that Potato has, so it was pretty easy and fun to do it for sure.
What's cool is in episode 7, we got to see not just the quirkiness and the humor, because we've seen that before.
Yes.
We got to see the depth and the why Potato is the way he is. As we got to see with the other T-Birds, we got to see more of why, their backstory, why they are the way they are. And I just love that.
Yeah, I think we were very lucky about that because we're like sort of a part of the comedy relief of the show because there's many aspects as a comedy relief in the show. We got Dot, who's an amazing actress, Josette Halper, Dot. But as the T-Birds, we're really lucky because we get to really explore that range, between comedy and emotion. So I really love that. Yeah, for sure.
And you need it. That's good because then too much of one thing and it's too much. But
Exactly.
but there was a lot to laugh about, but there was also a lot to love because you're all supposed to be like, tough, but then there you are where his jacket was dusty, so you were dusting off Richie's jacket and who really cried his guts out, my goodness, and you're all like, we're there hugging and we're there for each other, which is so nice. Like it was a good episode, really was.
Masterful directing, because there were scenes where there was so much tension between Richie and the other T-Birds, because Richie's kind of going rogue and the
Mhm.
T-Birds are not happy, but it never broke the bond.
Mm-mm.
You know what? They just they stuck
Landed.
with them. They got that money and they got their car and they took off, no matter how annoyed they were or irritated with
Him.
Richie. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Alethea just killed it with this episode. As when we found out that Alethea was going to be the one directing this episode,
Oh,
we were very excited because we're very comfortable working with her, and her creative mind is mind blowing. It's just, she leaves you in awe, and I can't wait to work with her again in season 2 if it happens. Hopefully.
it will. I'm sure it will. Janice is saying, great job, Alexis, with your character.
Thank you, Janice.
They're showing you some love. And Christine back says, Potato looks to be excited with his future with Nancy. Yeah, we saw that. And they're hoping that, so awesome. We're excited and hope there's a season 2. And they have a question here. Were you able to bring in any things that you've had happen in your life or seen in your life or environment?
Good
Like
question.
bring into your character or a scene or a reaction?
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely say for sure that as actors, we tend to extrapolate experiences that we live in our daily lives to sometimes on the script, right? Because
Mhm.
but it's hard sometimes to think about something that happened to you in life and put it on the script, because
Yeah.
it's hard to get out of, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes there's something that they taught us in school called substitution, where you just pretend as it happened
Oh,
when it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
right.
And
No, that makes sense.
so
Yeah.
it's much easier because it didn't happen. You're just reacting to how it would happen in your real life, to who you choose it would happen or whatever. So yeah. But definitely there's a lot of parts in the show that I did kind of like there was just a lot of coincidences with, maybe, well, not a lot, but a few coincidences with my personal life that I
It was nice.
unconsciously did it. Yeah.
Cool. That's good to know. By the way, I love your shirt. Your
Thank you.
Black shirt. Yes.
Fun fact.
Yes.
Buddy wears one of these in the show, but his is green.
Okay. I love it. Very nice. We will look for that. I love that. Renee is saying, and hello, Renee. Renee, I don't know if I've ever met Renee before, but she's saying, I'm very happy to see a Mexican in such a great show. Very proud.
Yeah, Rene is a very dear friend of mine back in Cabo San Lucas.
Oh,
Yeah, very talented girl. Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy to see a lot of Latino representation in this show. That's one of the things that got me really excited about being part of this. As soon as I read the script, I mean, not the script, the breakdown of the character and the breakdown of the other characters, and I was Puerto Rican, Mexican, Puerto Rican, this, I was like, what? I gotta be part of this. So
yes.
so yeah, I was really happy, and let's keep it going. Latino gang all the way up.
Now,
It's also Asian, African American, and it's all
Exactly.
done very
There's a lot.
seamlessly. It's not, here's the African American person and here's the Asian person. They just are blended right into this big old melting pot of diversity. And while it may not be strictly realistic for that time period, I still love it.
Exactly.
right. Well, we get to have that little creative, artistic, creative
Yeah.
part. What were you going to say? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alexis.
And it's yeah, there's some aspects that I agree with you, but I do agree that all these things happened. They did happen back in the 50s. They were just not explored. Like I do know that the relationship between Lydia and Cynthia was something based out of a real story back in the 50s. Like I do know that Annabelle did her research.
Research.
She went to yearbooks from
Mm-hmm.
California from the 50s, and
Mm-hmm.
she asked people, like she called people from those schools, and like she got a really, like she has a lot of backstory, and I don't think anything that she wrote is not adapt for the era. Well, one or two things, but I just from the 2023 lens, you know what I mean? But
Yes.
98% of the things, like Cynthia and Lady, I've seen a lot of comments that those things didn't happen back in the 50s.
Yes.
They did. They just weren't
It was just
out
secret.
in the open or explored.
You know?
Sure. Sure. Well, I mean, how silly. I mean, that's forever. All the storylines have been going on for many years before that. And just
Exactly.
because people didn't know and they didn't run around, well, you couldn't advertise certain things because you could be jailed or put to death, So, yeah.
How is
So,
nobody talking about the car that flies out of Grease, the original movie, and cars didn't fly in the 50s, you know what I
I
mean? Like,
know, I know, I know. In the dance scene, Grease Lightning. We're going to talk about that later. That's my pop culture for tonight is automobiles, which I know nothing, zero about, but I did some research. All right, we have Jean. She says, "How did you get your start in acting?" Like, so if I'm not correct me, is this your first like? I know it's not a film. What do we even want to
TV
call it?
series or mini series?
Yeah, is this your first? Right?
yeah, it's my first gig in acting, like my first
Oh, okay.
like as I mentioned earlier, I started back in Cabo San Lucas. Just brief summary. I started in Cabo San Lucas back in second grade. I did a yearly theater play for my school. It wasn't until 11th, 12th grade when I decided that I wanted to go to Vancouver to study acting. Got my agent by the end of 2 years in my school, and that's when I started acting. The whole thing started, and it was like 75 auditions that I did in 3 years.
Wow.
And in between year and a half, I had to drop acting for economical reasons. So I had to work in a restaurant for a year or two. And then I came back to my agency, another year and a half, did another 40 auditions, and I booked this. Like I did not book any voiceover. I didn't book any commercial. I didn't book any. I just 75 auditions,
Yes, I
a lot of
know.
callbacks, a lot of callbacks. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah,
but nothing.
this. But it's this, which is so great. That's your big thing, is this.
And a
Now,
tour. That's crazy.
this is sort of a personal question. Do you have the same agent? Have you had the same agent all along, or did you switch agents?
No, yeah. No, I'm very loyal to people who believe in me at the beginning, and Michelle has. Well, that's my agent. It's no
Yes.
secret because you can find it on my webpage and everywhere.
Well, the only way I know it, I contact your agents. That's what I
Oh,
do.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's been amazing. And I love it because she's very blunt, and she's very the same way I am. We're very similar in a lot of ways, and I like people that are truthful with me. If I'm doing something wrong, I don't want them to coat it with
Yes.
sugar or something. I want them to be straight up, and why am I doing it wrong? And she's like that, and I love that from her, and she just wants the best for me, and I just love her. She's amazing. She's amazing.
So
There's something I've always been curious about. How do you connect with an agent? I mean, did you decide, okay, I feel like I'm ready to find an agent, and then you kind of go on the web and find the ones you're interested in, and then you talk to them and try to convince them that you're worth them representing? I mean, how does that work?
Okay, I got two things for that. First thing, I was lucky enough that our school where I studied at, by the end of the second year,
Mhm.
the last month of the second year in September, I'm gonna say, which is when I graduated, September 2018, they bring. I'm in Vancouver. I live in Vancouver, and I attended to that school in Vancouver. So they bring one agent or two agents one day every. They bring one agent per day, and and you got to prepare a scene. You got to have a scene prepared for those days, and they bring like 20 5 agents, and by the end of those days, they give you you give them your contact, and if they are interested in you, they send you an email or something like that. So I was lucky enough to get 2 people interested in me, which one of them was Michelle. But if you would like to, like, if you don't have that possibility, I think getting a demo reel would be your best. Getting a lot of experience, credits in school, as in movement, speech, dialect, a lot of things where you have to develop skills in acting and have a great background in that. That's why they recommend you to go to school and take classes with teachers, renowned teachers in the city. And so yeah, I think you never know when you're ready. I think they decide for you because you submit, you go through their webpage and you submit your demo reel and your resume. And I think they're the ones who mainly decide if you're ready or not. But I do know that there's some cases in the show, actually, in Greece. I don't know if you know Polly, for example, Sumra, she's from the show. She didn't have an agent when she booked the show.
Wow.
Exactly. So I think she auditioned for the open call, and she got a role. She got an ensemble role, and she didn't have an agent, right? So I don't know.
That's rare. That's a rare thing, but
exactly. But that's because Greece did an open call, right?
Which is interesting.
95% of the shows don't do open calls.
No.
Yeah.
I was asking about your agent because that's who I always like. When I'm reaching out, I contact the agents and I tell them about, what I do, and I ask. And your agent was very nothing negative. I always like a lot of the agents are just very matter of fact, yes, no, whatever. And then when I find an agent that's like so protective of their person, they ask more detailed questions. They respond like this. They connect you back and forth. And I must have had I have like 14 emails, I feel like, in a row, just because and is it recorded and how long? And is it 20 minutes? And like, I was like, yes, I will be kind to your person. I promise.
That's why I love her. That's why I love her. Cause she just wants the best for me. And
yes.
And I'm really appreciative for that, and I don't think it's easy to get that,
And it's nice. I always like to share that because I feel like sometimes you don't know how they're responding for you. And when it's so positive, I have to make sure I tell the actor.
The thing is that there's details that tells you, that speaks more than words, They say action speaks more than words. It's definitely true with relationships and friendships for me, And,
yes.
And I do think that work relationship that I have with Michelle is very strong.
Good for you. Arlene is asking you a question, and this is true. I forgot about this. Can you say why Potato and Shy Guy's jackets are brown and Gil and Richie's are black? I didn't realize that, but I do.
It's because both Richie and Gil are the founders.
Okay.
Yeah, they both are the founders, and we arrived later. So I'm guessing that there weren't any black jackets for us.
Like
they didn't have a Nancy to make the jackets for the.
They didn't have Nancy. I don't think Gil and Richie will be happy though.
Sean says episode 7 was so cool to see backgrounds to the T-Birds and have their own episode. They're not just tough greasers, which is true. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're not all Italian, by the way. They're also Mexican. And
yes, they are, which I love. I love that. Again, Alexis, great job, particularly when this was your first job. She's saying bravo to you. They all are. Christina's saying bravo to you. And then some of the questions you've already answered about your classes. Oh, of course. Wait, this is funny. I told you, I know this was going to come up. This is Chris. She actually is an admin to a fan page for Chris McNally. They have like 10,000 people on it. Okay. Yeah. She wants to know, did you have any contact with Chris McNally? Pull him in. You have him right next to you, right?
Come on in, Chris. Just kidding. I got you there, Christine. Um, no, yes, I did. He's a lovely person. I love him. Chris McNally is the best person. I unfortunately didn't have a lot of um, days where we were working together on set.
Mhm.
I can count it with both my hands the days that we worked together on set. And those days we were both really busy. Uh, but the contact that I had with him every time has been amazing. Now, at the premiere, I remember that that's the time that I talked the most with Chris,
Yeah.
and oh my God, he's a lovely person. He actually, I think he lives in Vancouver, so we've been trying to get together to hang for golf range or something. So yeah, I can't wait to get to know him more. So yeah,
You
I'll try
golf?
to. What was that? Sorry.
You golf?
No, I mean for fun, I don't really
Yes,
go.
yes, like the
My,
shooting
my,
range or something.
yeah, exactly. My mom's boyfriend, he's a professional in golf, and he's been trying to get me into golf for quite a bit, but I'm just not good at it. But I can wait to develop more of that skill.
You can do
Alexis,
it.
what are your, do you have any aspirations right now beyond Greece? Like, do you have projects or plans for the hiatus from the show? And do you want to continue in television and miniseries, or you looking to maybe break into film, or what do you see? What do you hope for your future in acting?
Whatever Michelle sends his way. No, I'm only kidding.
um, Look, the acting world is very uncertain, right? With the with the strike, with the writer's strike, that I
Sure.
hope it gets solved soon. Uh,
Yes.
I'm gonna make a big parenthesis here. Like, the writers are the ones who make the shows, and without
Yes.
them, we wouldn't be anyone. So
Yes.
please make those contracts fair, and let's
Yes.
just get this thing keep going, because we won the second season. um, I can say that with the writer's strike, everything is very uncertain. We're gonna get we don't know how many months we're gonna get from this strike, and I like to take it one day at a time. I do have my goals, and I do have my goals and achievements that I want to get to, but uh, I mean, I do want to transition at some point at movies. There's a lot of things I want to do. I'm just starting in this industry. This is my first gig, and there's so many things that I want to do that I wouldn't be able to just tell you
Yeah.
one. Uh,
All
uh,
right. And
as a
what
Mexican,
a one.
go for it,
It's
please.
no, I was just gonna say it's a great one for you to start with. I mean, that's amazing. I'm so
Yeah, and right
excited.
now, I was fortunate enough to book a small part in the second season of a show, which I'm not sure if I can talk about it yet, so I'm just gonna keep it like that. If
Yeah,
you might
just say
find out,
that.
you might find out in my Instagram soon. But
Yes.
yeah, I booked a small part in a show, and you might see me soon in another network. So
All
uh,
right.
yeah, keep
Have
your
you
eyes.
just been walking along or in the grocery store or in a restaurant having dinner? Has anyone approached you and goes, potato?
No, not yet, But I got two stories for that. The first one is Danny has. Yesterday, Danny told me that he was at one pub or something, and one guy approached him, and he was the guy that you least expect that will watch the show. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Are you the principal of the show?" And he was like, "Yeah, I am. I love your character, man, and I love the show." And he was like, "Oh, cool." But for me, I remember there was one time at a liquor store, um, that there was this guy in the line, and he was looking at me, and I was just, and I had my hoodie. I had my T-Birds hoodie because they gave us one by the wrap of the show,
Yeah.
and it said Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies, and it had the T-Birds logo in the back and everything. And he was looking at my face, and he was like, "I know you from somewhere." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "From where?" And I'm like, I'm not sure, but I know you from somewhere." I'm like, Okay, that's that's nice. I hope you find out soon where it was from, and
Does the jacket not give you a clue, sir?
exactly, and then the cashier was like, she was looking at me and she was like, I wonder where he knows you from, and I'm like, hey, I wonder too. I don't even know if it was because of the show. He must have known me
Right.
because
Yeah.
he saw me look like me.
Oh, I love it. So if you were not Potato, who would you like to be? Who's your favorite character? Who's a character you think would be fun to play?
In Rise of the Pink Ladies.
Yep.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I auditioned. I'm gonna say a fun fact. I auditioned first for Richie.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry about that. Yeah, my first audition was Richie, and then that's when I did Potato. So I would say Richie is a fun character to explore, and but hey, Jonathan just kills it. He's amazing. He's amazing.
Yes. Yeah. I think everybody has who they should be.
I agree.
They did a good job.
I
So
totally.
before you leave us, because you've been here for 45 minutes
Oh my
talking.
God, time is flying. What?
I know. I love it. Thank you for that.
No, thank you.
Let's see. They want to say it's so nice. Jean is saying it's so nice that your agent looks out for you. Hope to see you in more shows.
You will, John.
Yes. And then Arlene says, thanks for chatting with us. Alexis, we love you on Grease.
Oh, thank you so much, Arlene.
And Jan is saying, I think Grease was a great first gig because it shows several of your different talents. That's true.
Yeah.
It's not just acting. You can sing and you can dance. And you have that whole like sensitive side and then that whole little silly, goofy side too.
Yeah.
And a crafty side.
Yes. Yes.
And he's added a new talent to his resume. And what would you call that? Nipple tickler?
Professional nipple tickler.
Professional nipple. That's quite a niche. That's a very specific niche.
Wait, that just might take you in the wrong direction, okay?
Craigslist right now, jobs. Let's find.
Oh gosh. Oh boy. Oh. Is your mom watching? Is she watching you?
I don't know. I sent her I don't even know if I sent. I think I sent her the link. But she might be busy right now. It's fine. She is gonna be filmed, so.
I didn't mean tonight. I'm sorry. I meant, is she watching you? Is she watching Grease?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. She's in Mexico, so I think that I don't think I know that the episodes air one day after Canada and the US. So yeah, I think she's up to date. I think we saw episode 7 together. We were on FaceTime and we were both watching on screen.
Oh.
I had it on mute, but I was trying to synchronize it to the audio,
Yes, that's hard. We've tried to do that. Doesn't always work.
I nailed it. I surprisingly nailed it to the everywhere, and I was like, okay, cool. This is gonna work.
Great.
But yeah, it was nice. Yeah, she loves it. I just can't wait. I'm just very attentive to her reactions every time that I'm on the screen and everything to see how, because my mom struggled a lot, she had a tough life, raising me. So I'm very happy, I'm very happy that she gets to witness, all this, right?
Right. Oh, that's true.
So
fruit of labor.
Yep. We're all hoping for a season 2 and that the writer's strike gets resolved and we get back into season 2 and we get to see more in depth on Richie and what's planned for him. So I'm going to say when, not if, but when season 2 gets rolling and we get more storyline for you, I hope you will come back and talk with us again about
Potato and his work. It's going to be good.
Of course. Let me know. I can wait. Thank you so much for having me. I can wait to be back here for second season if it happens, and if not, for other show maybe.
Yes, and
we'll post it on as you
watch.
Get booked for different kinds of gigs. We'd love to know.
Definitely. I'll post everything on my Instagram, so I'll keep you all updated through there.
Look at this. This is a great last comment to end with before we say goodnight to you. It's from Lillian. I'm sure your mom is very proud of you. Happy Mother's Day to her.
I forgot. Yeah, because in Mexico it's on Wednesday. It's it's not on Sunday like it is in Canada. It's May 10th. So that was 4 days ago. And
Okay. Aw.
yeah, but yeah, happy Mother's Day. So it's never it's not enough one day to tell her how much you love her, right?
No, no. Aw. All right. Thank you so much. You spent so much time with us. We appreciate it. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Roxanne. Thank you, Kathy, for having me, and I can't wait to be here
Absolutely.
soon.
All right. You have a good one. Good night.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye
now.
bye. Wow. He's a cutie patootie.
I tell you, these guests from Greece are knocking it out of the park.
They are. They have such wonderful personalities. I
Mhm.
love it. And I love that he and Danny had drinks and were chatting and talking, and that was fun. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh my goodness, talking about two crazy ladies.
Mhm.
Sure. After your nipple comment, my God.
Well,
We said that word one too many times tonight. More than we've ever said before on the show. Oh my
more than
God.
I've ever said in my life, I think.
Okay. All right, everyone. So we're going to recap, and we talked a lot about the episode already. Just a few more things, and I was going to share some pop culture. And then I was going to share my thoughts about Mr. Daniels, like how he could have fit into episode 7. I think there was a spot for him. I really do. It would be logical, too. Yeah.
You know what
All
my
right.
favorite part of my favorite thing about episode 7 was?
Now, you go right ahead and share. If it looks like I'm not looking at you, it's because I forgot to link in my little photos, but I'm watching and listening to everything you say. Go ahead. What was your
I
favorite?
love the fact that it was nonlinear, that it picked up a little before the events of episode 6. And it showed you what was going on, you know, a little before each of the events. And a little
That's true.
after, that blew my mind. I just thought that was so clever.
I
And
like when they do that on a show.
yeah, it filled in so many blanks. Like I remember distinctly Jane seeing Richie head off with the T-Birds in the car,
Yes.
and they just headed off, and there was no reference to it. I don't know if they had even appeared that much in the episode, but then we get to see what was the backstory with that. And then, of course, I think everyone loved that we got to see what was up with the T-Birds.
Yes.
You know, what was behind each one of them. And they, remember I was saying episode 6 was all about epiphanies. I think it just continued in episode 7, that everybody kind of had an epiphany about their life and where it was going and what they wanted and what they intended to do about it. I thought it was fabulous character growth. And if we had an MVP of the episode, I'm saying it was Buddy. Had nothing to do with the triangle, had nothing to do with who he's in love with or who he
No.
to be with. That boy is just conflicted.
Yes.
And you could almost see the war going on so many times. He was about to say something and then he stopped himself. And I think he's really torn between, you know, kind of loyalty to his father and being the honest person and exhibiting the character that is his true nature.
Yes. And I think the father is living vicariously through him.
Mhm.
Like maybe things the father wished he had had or done. And he's doing that through his son. And do you remember and I loved it that it was all about the T-Birds and then Buddy. Do you know what I mean? Like, and we all saw his face when he walked off in season 6, and we were all, not season, episode 6, and we were trying to figure out, well, why did he react that way? Was it because he saw the what the looks that were going on between Hazel and Wally? And I'm like, oh no. And then here we find out it had nothing to do with that. It was more about him and what
seeing
had
his
happened.
father, out there in
Yes.
the audience. And I
Yes.
think his father, I don't necessarily think he's evil. I think he's doing what he really thinks is right and what he thinks is appropriate to do. And I think those of us who've watched When Calls the Heart have seen this actor do he maneuvers an absolutely beautiful 180 on character from, you know, bad to redemption. And I'm wondering if we're going to see something like that in this episode. But Buddy is totally conflicted, and it's everything else I think is superficial in terms of that, you know, love triangle, superficial. he's battling some inner demons.
Right. You're right. Avis is saying, I wonder how much Buddy's going to start drinking now. But if you remember, we saw him in bed going to sleep with the bottle, and his dad does drink quite a bit. But also, we saw Richie wake up with all the beer and the drinks around him. So Richie himself was also doing some heavy duty drinking.
Except I thought that kind of switched up where you saw, but Richie kind of, okay, I'm done with that. And yeah, so they kind of, switch places there. And it was really more about them.
Yes.
And their inner conflict than it was about Jane. I thought that was really cool.
Yes. And which I liked. I loved that whole part when they go to talk to her and what they both had to say. I thought, oh, okay, this makes sense. This is like setting up, I guess, for the rest of the episodes. Cindy saying conflicted is a good word to describe Buddy now.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, this is interesting. I like how we got a little bit of background, just enough about all of the different characters. I love when we saw Gil working in the deli with his mom, and we find out that he's the older brother of Rizzo. I love that. I love it. And that tough exterior. I had a little bit of like a connection or a flash with Dirty Dancing. So when he's, in the deli and he's being all suave and the older women are like, oh, and slipping him some money, like how he was interacting. It reminded me of in Dirty Dancing when the older women would, for an extra little dance, they would put like some money in the pocket of what was the character's name in Patrick Swayze's character's name? I forgot his name. Oh my gosh, I love that movie so much and I forgot it, but you know what I'm talking about out there. So someone in the chat will remind us. I was like, oh, I got a little vibe from that, sort of the same era, right? Yeah. I also like learning about Shy Guy. And did you see when they were boxed, like hitting the bag, how they did it in sync? There was like a beat to it. All the three they kept. Just the cinematography is amazing. How they showed the one boxer, and then they showed the next and the next, and it was all in like sync. And how about him? He doesn't even want to fight. He doesn't like to fight.
But he brought the A game when it came to the tow truck owner.
Yes, because he's been trained. And I was like, oh, I love that he wanted to be in the play. And he didn't care. He didn't show up for the fight. I know. We already addressed that one. I think Buddy is going to find his voice and come out of his conflicts and express himself, I guess, Christine.
I hope so.
I do too. I think that would be a great like cliffhanger for the end of the season. And then Jan saying, is Buddy going to stay as president, or is he going to give it up and explain? Oh,
we'll have to see. I think that's going to make up the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Will be his struggle to figure out what to do.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny Castle. You're right. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. Yeah, I love Gil. You need to try to have him on. I will.
I love that actor, and they cast beautifully with him and his younger sister. They look like they could be siblings. And Gil looks like he has, for lack of a better expression, unplumbed depths. That character, there's just something. There's something about him. It's almost like repressed anger or repressed intensity. There's just something about him that I find interesting.
I love the little looks and the conflict with Mr. Daniels. Gil and Mr. Daniels.
He kind of likes Olivia, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, and he's very protective of her. Like he'll come to her rescue sometimes and like give him a little look, and then he looks too. So I'm like, pretty interesting. So before I tell you my little theories about Mr. Daniels, I wanted to show, so pop culture, add to the stream. Let me add it to the stream. Let me hit, why? This is not how I normally do it. So I don't know why it's looking like that. I wanted to just talk about all the different cool cars. Let's see if I could slideshow it. Okay. How's that? Is that better? Let me see. There it is. And I wanted to just talk about all the cool cars in general. So I did 1950s, like what were the most popular cars. This one is Of course, the 1957 Chevy Bel Air. But I was shocked by the colors. I didn't realize that they were all like the most popular colors were white and that funky type of blue.
Isn't this turquoise?
Like, well, yeah, blue, turquoise, but yeah, like that color is, I'm like surprised by that. I don't know. I thought, now there's the white. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And so what is that? Is that the Jag?
I think it is.
Yeah. And they were saying that that was it was most famous Jag ever made, 1950. It, for whatever reason, I'm not into classic cars, but that was look at the wheels on that. And then this one here is supposed to be like very super popular. Look at all of them. The Thunderbird. They said that that's like everybody always thinks of Thunderbirds. And then I was looking and they were talking about 1954 when the show takes place. That is when a lot happened in the car industry. Like there was this big race between Ford and Chevy and who was making the most. And then General Motors made their 50 millionth car that year. So it was like supposed to be a big year. But what was interesting too is these are just some of the common cars. The average car at that time cost $1,950, like 1950. Isn't that funny?
That's practically a car note today.
I know. And wait, and gas was 22 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
Now here's our famous car, right? This one here. What do you have?
I'm picturing Travolta and what was it, Wiki? Kanicki and the guys doing the whole routine.
Their dream sequence, right? Well,
Yep.
that's a 1948 car. It's called a deluxe, a Ford Deluxe convertible. Isn't that funny? And they fix it all up in their dreams in the auto shop. And then the girls, they had a Studebaker and they had a pink car too. And then this
Mary Kay? Was that a Mary Kay car?
Yeah.
Were the pink ladies dabbling and
Oh gosh, I don't know. Mary Kay would have head spun off if those were her girls. Oh gosh. And then here is the car that they have now. And what kind of car is that? Do you know? I forgot to ask. I meant to ask Alexis what kind of car that was.
I don't know why I want to say a DeSoto, that grill. I don't know.
No. T-Bird, not a Thunderbird. Oh, well, I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, well, that's what you're saying. But they said Thunderbird. It's what it says, Thunderbird. It's written out. But I guess that's not the proper lingo. Thank you for schooling me.
Car buffs.
My sister-in-law had a 57 Chevy in red and white, I believe. My neighbor had a 1955 Chevy Bel Air. All right. Grease lightning. Oh, Carrie, you're here. What did you do? Run out of the movie theater? Carrie had the opportunity to go watch Grease in the movie theater.
Oh, wow.
Grease the movie. Bel Air Chevy. Woo, woo. Okay. All right. And is that what Avis, is that what this one is? I don't know. What is that one? I don't know. But where did they get their hands on all of these cars? I wish the car wrangler would come on and talk to us about it.
People own these vintage cars and then they lease them out to the movie companies.
Okay. Down on the grill, it says what it is. It does? Well, I can't read that. I don't know a single thing about it.
Did I just
all right.
off? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
What happened?
I thought did you remove it? I thought I clicked on it to see if I could enlarge it to read the grill.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think we can. Teal, blue, also pink, and black, white popular. Yeah, black and white and the teal blue. Very, very, very pink. Pink cars were popular then? I didn't know that. Oh,
I think they were. I've seen them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, that was so loud. So we're going to end on, because we really talked a lot with Alexis. He was amazing. He had a lot to say and share. That was so nice. And his friends were on. That was cool.
And I don't know if everybody was on, but I just want to make the point of his name is Alexis Sides.
Yes.
So, I know when I first saw it, I just assumed it was Sides, but just if you're looking him up again or thinking about it, the actor, it's actually Alexis
Sides. And we learned that it's Jewish, which there was a large population of Jewish community when they were escaping that went to Mexico. I actually have friends that are Jewish generations, and they're Mexican as well. My dad's first car was a 1957 Ford Fairline. Okay, Lillian, nice. Nice. T-Birds first rolled out in 1955. Okay. So getting back to Mr. Daniels, he wasn't there, but since this was really getting a perspective on the boys' lives, Richie and then his friends and how they related to him and all the little glimpses, then of course it had the whole thing with Buddy. I think another big male presence is Mr. Daniels, and we could have seen maybe a little bit of his background of why he was who he was. I thought that would have been nice, but I think the reason why they didn't, I mean, of course, they're writers and they know what they're doing, but I guess they think they didn't because there's such a mystery behind him that it makes the storyline with Olivia a little more interesting. Like, I would have liked to have seen just how did Barbara and Beige Barb and Mr. Daniels get together? Do you know?
Yeah, I think it makes sense though to lay the groundwork and to add more layers and depth to where'd she go? Well, I imagine she's going to pop right back in, but I thought it made a lot of sense to show the depth and the layers of the T-Birds and in episode 6 of the Pink Ladies first, before they then go in and add more backstory for Mr. Daniels. So it didn't particularly bother me that they didn't focus on him in this episode, under the assumption that they are going to pick that up and add more depth in the coming episode. Right.
So that just makes, we had said this with Alexis behind the scenes. So the year before her junior year, she was kissing him and had a relationship with him. That means that she was like 15 years old. She was in 10th grade.
Are we sure of that? When the show opened, were they just at the very beginning of the junior year?
Yes. You remember, it's the first day of school.
That's icky.
And when you look at the records, it happened. So it's September, and it happened before school let out the year before, like the school year before, and they made a mistake on dates. In real life, they made a mistake, the writers or whoever does it. It happened like was it April? Chris remembers. Chris, here she is. Yeah, it remembers. Wait a minute, what you saying? Wait a minute, hold on, let me put this here.
Leonard never corrects Olivia when she calls her Beige Barb.
Yeah. So I think it was in April, and they have a date there when the incident happened, and they write it up and it's in the records. But they were silly because they made it 1953 because they're thinking year before, but they're forgetting it's school year. It really is 1954 because the date they chose was a Sunday in real life. So they just made a slight mistake with that part. But the thing is, it was during her sophomore year. And I'm like, no.
Well, so that's the thing, though. We don't know what happened. I mean, I don't think they've done anything physically.
They kissed.
They might have been caught in a compromising position.
Yeah.
I don't know what the compromising position was, but if she was 15 at that time, I'd be very shocked if they go there.
And he actually says, you're right, we were more than just student teacher. We were, and
I think they were deeply attracted, but again, I don't know how much further it went.
I think we're going to see a past memory of Mr. Daniels and Olivia's relationship. And Leonard never corrects Olivia when she calls Barbara Beige Barb. April, Chris, your 8th, whatever you put in, April 5th. Yes, April 5th. And they put 1953, which was a Sunday, and they really meant 1954. So that's all right. They got it messed up. I think it was great that we got background on all or most of the characters. It really fills out the show. We need it because there's so much singing and dancing that we can tend to miss certain things. Yeah. All right. So next time we are together, it is going to be episode
8.
8. Oh my gosh, 8, 9, and 10. We only have 3 left.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, and I just can't let go what Danny said to us, Danny Mack, when he was on. He said that he saw the script. When he first saw it, he was like, "Oh wow," because Cheyenne shared it with him, and she's Olivia, and he's like, "Oh, that's where it's going to go." The story between Olivia and Mr. Daniels. Oh, were you reading what they're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is it. You ready, Miss Kathy, to say goodnight?
I am.
Yeah, me too. All righty.
You guys have a wonderful week.
Happy Mother's Day.
We'll see you. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers and mother figures out there. And we will see you next week, same time, same channel.
Yes. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.